Okay, now that we've polished it up, we're going to touch up that little chip with some wax. Hoping this works. There, see that? And then we'll seal it in with the ceramic coat, which is like that layer of glass over top. And that should be far less noticeable anyway. I don't have a crayon with a perfect color match. But normally that wouldn't work because that would just kind of wash out, you know. But if you're covering it with a coating, then it's going to stay.
I got thinking, I thought this is a good opportunity for me actually to do a little ceramic coating. There's not a whole lot of paintwork to worry about. There's just a small area here and maybe a few spots there and there. So there's not a lot to do, but it's nice to ceramic coat your paintwork because it'll protect it far better than wax will, and it'll last for far longer as well. So we are going to do a little ceramic coat job here, and I'll show you because I do own a detailing business, and so I've learned a little bit about it. And for those of you that don't know what the ceramic coat is, it's kind of like a liquid form of glass that goes over. And then once it's spread on there and it cures, it literally turns to glass, a glass coating on there. And that's why it lasts so long or protects so hard compared to wax, which is just a wax coating on your paintwork. So before I do that, I'm going to show you how we prep the paint for doing this first. Okay, so I've done some taping. I didn't get real carried away because I'm pretty careful and I'm not too worried about this stuff too much. When you know what you're doing, it's not so bad. So I'm going to just start, and I'm just going to do just the main areas. I'm not getting every little nook and crevice or anything like that. I just want to cover up the, polish up the main areas that are exposed. And what I'm going to use is, I like to use CarPro Essence because it's a very, very light cleaner polish, but it also, it's a primer, so it primes for applying things like ceramic coat. In other words, it sets it up for a really nice high gloss finish, if high gloss is what you're after. So I find it's a very good product for that. So we're going to put a little bit of that on there. Don't get too carried away. It's just going to spray everywhere. And I use a pad. It's a bit of a cutting pad, but it's not a real aggressive cutting pad, but it's kind of a light cutting pad, because you do want to give it a bit of a scrub, a cut. You don't just want to place the product on top. You want to use this to actually deep clean and prep the paintwork for this surface. This works whether it's clear coat or not. So I'm not going to just stick this on there and start going at it, because it's just going to get all over the seat and everything. So you're going to spread it out around a little bit. Don't use too high of a speed. Like, I usually like to go about second speed, and just give it a good polish. And you really want to clean that paintwork up and prep it. Don't worry too much if you got a little bit on your seat or whatever. It's not going to stain it. You can get it out. I like to cover up the black vinyl areas because sometimes that's hard to get out if you get this stuff on it. But in general, you're okay. And just, you don't have to spend a whole lot of time at it. Just give it a good polish. And you do a small area like that, and then you wipe this right away. It doesn't need to dry because this is just your cleaning. More than just a cleaner though, it's a prep. And even when you use this, you'll notice it starts to give it a high gloss on your paintwork. take note that whatever polisher you use, make sure it's a dual action polisher and not just like a spinning, rotating polisher, okay? A dual action polisher slowly spins around and jiggles and rotates while it's going around, as opposed to one that just spins. Because the one that just spins, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not careful enough, you can end up leaning a little too hard into it, and it can literally burn and bubble up the paint. And I've seen it happen, and you don't want that to happen. A dual action, you pretty much can't hurt the paintwork with it at all. So make sure it's a dual action. This is a Flex. It's really nice, but it's like a $750 tool, so you might not have one of these, but just get something like it that's dual action. And in this case, you know, it would have been nice to do the front, you know, fairings or whatever, but I'm not going to bother because of the crash bars, so it's just going to be too much hassle getting in there. It's really not worth it, so I'm just going to skip by. I've decided I'm going to do the windshield too. It's getting pretty old and scuffed up. And I think that this, with the ceramic coating on it to make it water repellent, is going to do a good job on it. So let's get her cleaned and polished, and we'll do that too. Of course, the only problem is I got polishing away and I got polish underneath in between the windshield. So now I guess I'm going to have to take that windshield off to clean that up. They actually aren't screwed in there very tight, which makes sense since you don't want to crank these down too tight and crack the windshield. I'm just glad they didn't have those weird rubber grommets on the back of these ones where you lose the grommet or you can't unscrew it or you can't screw it in. It just seems like as long as you keep your washers and stuff, that you just a basic screw. So I'm happy about that because I've not had this off since I bought the bike. I've never bought it. I've never had to take it off. Well, it wasn't too hard. Hopefully it's just as easy putting it back on. Well, that's cool. Now I can work on getting it right. I can polish the inside and out, and I've never been able to clean inside here because of taking it off. So it actually wasn't as hard as I thought to take it off. Yeah, I don't care. Some of you are like, well, duh, but hey, I don't mess with it until it needs to be messed with. It was fine the way it was, but that windshield's been on since 2020. It's been through many a trip. All right, well, go, geez, Homer. That worked pretty good. That looks like it's brand new. And that's got over about 25,000 kilometers of highway travel on there. Highway and back bush travel. So it's pretty. Okay, now that we've polished it up, we're going to touch up that little chip with some wax. Hoping this works. There, see that? And then we'll seal it in with the ceramic coat, which is like that layer of glass over top. And that should be far less noticeable anyway. I don't have a crayon with a perfect color match. But normally that wouldn't work because that would just kind of wash out, you know. But if you're covering it with a coating, then it's going to stay. You're probably wondering why I didn't take the visor off. It's because this thing's been malfunctioning quite a bit lately. It's an older helmet too. I've had it for 8 years as well. And it's a real pain to get it back on properly. It's pretty much broken, but I've got it so it works.
as long as I don't mess with it. So I'm trying to do it with it on. Okay, so ceramic coating. The term ceramic coating is a very loosely used term in the detailing world. You can go into your local department store, your hardware store, and pick something off the shelf that says ceramic coat. You can get ceramic coat spray, ceramic coat wax, ceramic this is ceramic that. And they may or may not all have a certain degree of the CO2 coating or whatever it's called. What's the coating called? Anyway, the special ingredient in them, you can look it up. Point is, they don't all have that, as much of that ingredient in them. If you want something that's basically pure liquid glass, you're going to have to get a high-end product, a high-end professional product. Like this C-Quartz here. It is made by CarPro. It's available through professional car detailing suppliers. And like a bottle like this is about $200 in Canada. Maybe cheaper in the States or elsewhere, but just to give you an idea, this isn't some $10 ceramic spray that you just spray and wipe. I'll give you an example. You know, you can get stuff like this, right? And it's like ceramic detailer, quick ceramic detailer, just spray and wipe. Well, yeah, but you're not getting a ceramic coating. So I just want to make sure that you understand that what you see on the shelf in the store is not the same as what you're looking at here. So now that everything's cleaned and been properly polished and primed, you're ready to apply your ceramic coat. So most kits will come with a sponge like that and a little felt cloth. You put the felt cloth over and you just put a line on it like this. And then you make sure you don't get this on your fingers, because think of it as crazy glue. It's just like liquid glass once it comes into contact with stuff. And you just put a very gentle, nice, even coat. It might be hard if there's a lot of contours. That's why I'm not getting into all the nooks and crannies here. I suppose there's a way, but I'm happy with what I'm doing. So, and you put that even coating on it, just like that. You might not see it from this angle. And make sure you didn't leave any kind of lint or anything like that. I'm putting a little more here. I like to be fairly generous with mine. And just make sure you got that nice even coating. And now you only want it to sit there for a minute or so at the most. So you just want it to sort of start to dry, and it'll do what they call flashing, which you may see some kind of rainbow colors in it a little bit as it's drying, and that means it's flashing. So it's been about a minute up here, right? You can start to wipe it off now. And so because I'm alone here, it's nice to do this as a two-man team, but because I'm alone, I'm going to just do a little section at a time. And you're just going to buff that off now. If you see any kind of like it looks like it's streaking or anything like that, it means you went too soon. You know, you got to let it dry a little bit. It's got to flash. And then I'm just going to buff that down like that. And now I'm going to basically do the whole bike that way. And then we'll come back, give it a final buff, and then it's going to cure. Okay, so all the ceramic coat was applied, and then it was hand buffed off, and now you've buffed it up and everything, and I've took the tape off, and so that's all you could do. And now this isn't the part where it starts to look really glowy and shiny. This, not when you first do it. Now it has to cure. And so what you do is you leave it in a warm, dry shop like this for, well, overnight is nice. And but if you come back out and have a look at it in about an hour or so, you'll notice the whole gloss factor and the colors popping and everything is going to enhance. It's going to be so much more. It's just going to pop and glow. And so that's what'll happen is by tomorrow morning, all of this here is just going to look like extremely glossy and shiny and clean, and it'll look like brand new again, even after 25,000 clicks on it. And I don't know how the windshield and that's going to come up. I don't know, but anyway, I put it back on, and I'm hoping, if anything, not so much for the glow factor for the windshield, but the water repellency, because it's this is extremely hydrophobic coating that's on it. So when that rain hits it, it's just gone, right? So I'm trying that on the helmet and on the windshield to see how that works, and if it works the way I'm hoping it does, I may never have to put repellent or anything like that on it again, because these coatings last several years, even riding in the harsh conditions. So there we are, and I'm just going to go around and just really carefully look under the light and make sure there's no little blemishes I missed or anything like that. But you give that a few hours and you come out here when that starts to cure. You could come out and do a second coat if you wanted, but I'm not going to bother because this has already had ceramic on it before, and although I polished it, I still think there was enough remnants in that I think it's okay with the one coat. But you could do two, just if you want a really long-lasting finish on your bike. So there you go, ceramic coating your bike, and stay tuned for more exciting stuff. I think we'll be polishing the wheels next, but not today, maybe tomorrow, because that's really time consuming. We might show you that too though. Have a good one.